Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Today I would like to talk about napkins. Why not? I've talked about just about everything else in the 2,500 videos that I've recorded over the last 12 years, but this is an act of rebellion in my 60s. I'm going to talk about napkins today. And I'm only using the analogy because I think it's a perfect example of things that I have stopped doing since I've turned 60, and maybe you're struggling with some of these too. So let's chat. I think the thing about napkins is, to me, they represent something that I don't use much at all anymore. There used to be a time where I would, set the table and put napkins there for everybody to use. And if I ever had a dinner party or people over, I would fold them in certain ways, or I would, just get the ones, the mixy-matchy, so that they look like a prepared table. And there are some of you, I am sure, who still do that and love to do it. And that's great. But for me, it's kind of an act of rebellion that I want to talk about, that I think kind of, I don't know, just gives us something to use other analogies that are similar, okay? For me, folding the napkins, ironing the clothes, these are all things that I don't do anymore. My life is not neat and smooth, and it doesn't sort of have this little program that means everything should line up. I mean, when you come and if you ever have dinner at my place, one person's going to get a pink bowl and someone's going to get a turquoise bowl, and the forks and knives are definitely not matchy. I used to have sets of everything. You probably did too. I mean, I used to have like sets of Christmas decorations, like the fruit decorations, or the pink or the blue series. And over the 20 years of my marriage and the different things we used to do with the kids, I mean, there were so many sets of things, and the things that made everything sort of fit into place. And part of that was just part of the culture, I guess, of just having a family, having a partner, you're wanting to do things in a nice, pretty way and make sure they were all organized. But anyway, at 60, I stopped letting myself worry about that. Sometimes I still do it. I mean, it's not that I don't actually, sometimes make a nice table and prepare things, but for the most part, it's liberating. So what are things that you're doing that are definitely neat and tidy, that you just like to stop doing? Okay. Now, I know that, society kind of values this kind of, women being non-disruptive or just doing things to the plan. I've never been that person, but maybe you have and broken away from it a little bit. But there comes, I think, in our 60s, this moment, this kind of realization, like, why am I ironing scarves? Why am I ironing pillowcases? And you may do it, and if you do, I love you. But the point is that leave it till tomorrow. The dishes can sit on the counter if you don't have the energy to do them today. Just saying no without an explanation, without trying to justify it, or I'm a bit tired. Just leave the dishes. You don't have to explain it. Like, as I've said many millions of times, no is a complete sentence. You just say no, and then you just do what you don't want to do. You don't do what you want to do. So you can wear mismatched socks. You can wear colors that don't go together. What is that old phrase? Blue and green should never be seen except inside a washing machine. I wear blue and green all the time. It's just that those things that we have convinced ourselves were actually not acceptable. That it's not acceptable to not have a dinner service without a napkin that you folded, or it's not acceptable to wear a scarf that's not been ironed, or whatever the thing is that you've decided that is no longer something you enjoy, and you're just not going to do it anymore. It's your act of rebellion. I love it, and it is not laziness. Okay. It's liberation. It's liberation from a rhythm, from a set of expectations that just are not you anymore. And I think that we all have these little special things. Maybe you can give me some examples of things that you've actually done. It's kind of just inviting you to be comfortable and kind to yourself. It's an act of self-compassion. Why iron stuff that you don't need to iron? I must tell the truth, though. I do own an iron, and I do own an ironing board. But that's only because when I wear like certain pants and shirts that just need that little bit of, pressing at the collar or whatever, I just like to have. So I guess I'm old-fashioned in that respect. But what is your version of folding napkins? There's got to be some examples. So here's a few that I can give to you. Okay, always being the first to offer help. That's a good one. You give up this impulse to jump to everybody's help, to jump to everybody's solving all their problems. That's a perfect example of something that, is an act of rebellion. It's something that you've done all your life. I remember when my first son went to school in college, and they had this little session for the parents, and it was like, okay, guys, in the first week, you're going to get a phone call, and it's going to be, Mom, I've run out of money, lost my bike, whatever. And you're going to pause, and you're going to bite your tongue, and you're going to have this act of rebellion. This is back in my 40s, right? 30s. That's a very interesting problem. How are you going to solve that? And then stop, because your attention is, okay, we can do this and this and this, and I'll get that and that and that, and I instead of you've got to solve that. So anyway, that's a really good example of one. Stop apologizing for taking up space, just for simply wanting something that is, that you're needing to claim space. I mean, that's another thing that you just have to define, or have to break through the rules of like waiting in line and saying, excuse me, just go right up to the front. There's things that you can do that are a statement that you are not, going to follow the guidelines anymore, that you're going to be a little bit of a rebel. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, dressing to make other people comfortable. That's a big one. We've got to stop doing that. That's not necessary anymore. Hosting every family meeting or get together. And I know, because I have a lot of friends in the 60Me community, I know there's lots of you who love to do this, that you like to get your family all together, your brothers and your sisters, and you just like to go on holiday together. And I know you do that, but you don't have to do that. If you want to go to the little cabin in the woods by yourself, if you want to not be the host at Christmas this year, if you just don't want to cook the Thanksgiving dinner, it's okay. It really is. Somebody else will do it if you just say, I'm not going to do it this year, guys. I've done it for 20 years. Another little act of rebellion. Taking on the emotional pain of everybody else, for sure, and the labor that's involved in the challenges that they face. I mean, I know it's really hard, especially with children, and especially with people with special needs, or with, in your family that just, have a vulnerability, and that you can be of help. I think that's where you have to kind of not fold the napkins, but at least provide the napkins. You need to provide the support and the help. I think that napkin analogy is kind of taken to the extreme when you say, I'm going to stop folding them. Well, that's fine. That's one thing. But to say, still want to have a napkin, for whatever purpose, and use that metaphor in whatever ways you want. I think that there's also kinds of things like giving up your own dreams, and finally saying to yourself, doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I don't have to wait to do the world cruise. I'm just going to take a Mediterranean 4-day cruise because I can afford that. And it's not compromise, and it's not being lazy. It's not saying I'm giving up. It's just being realistic. And I think that's the secret to not folding the napkins. It's not because you don't have a napkin or that you don't want to do something. It's that you just have chosen not to. And that you just, it's your strength to stand up to that expectation and be a bit messy, just be messy with your life. Make mistakes, bump around, do things that you didn't do before. Go belly dancing, go to a tango class and look like a crazy person. It doesn't matter. It honestly does not matter anymore. And as I said, I'm not giving up and saying I'm not going to learn to dance, or I'm not going to do these things, perfectly. It's just saying, it's not going to be like it was, when you picked things up really fast and you had a different body and a different mindset. You're not there to please anybody anymore. You're there to please yourself. And I don't mean to be like you shouldn't consider other people, and certainly your partner and your friend and your family, your lovers. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be considerate of them, your children, your best friends, but let's just try to put ourselves a little bit at the beginning of it. Put the napkins out on the table, but don't feel like you have to make a perfect gourmet meal, 5-course with wines to match, Unless you want to, then you can do it. Anyway, I hope this has been useful. When I started this conversation, it sounded useful to me, and now I'm wondering if I've gone maybe off the edge a bit with it. Anyway, I just hope it's at some point you capture something that gave you an idea that it's time to just stop doing the things that are neat and tidy, and being a little bit of a radical, a little bit of a revolutionary, and see how it feels. Be kind. ultimately be kind, but be kind to yourself first. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. I hope that you're doing great. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching my crazy antics. And, if you haven't joined our YouTube group here, please subscribe. We've got about 270,000 people now. It'd be great to get to 300,000 by the end of the year, wouldn't it? Because I think the more women in the world that are thinking together on these topics, the better. Not so much even 60andMe, but we're here. We're here to help. We're a participant in the plot. Anyway, take good care, everybody. Have a wonderful day, wherever you are. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.